and thank you for joining me. I'm Up the FM Ducks and I've been reviewing the 2022 World Cup team by team. And in today's episode we're looking at none other than Denmark, who had an inspiring run in last summer's European Championships. You can catch my other team previews and analysis on the channel, and if you're feeling ever so kind as to drop a like and a subscribe, you would be a World Cup legend. So without further ado, let's take a look into Denmark. Denmark is a beautiful country with lots of famous things to its name. I'm particularly partial to a Danish bacon and a Danish pastry myself. Pictured here is Copenhagen Harbour, with its recognisable coloured buildings on the waterfront. Denmark was also the birthplace of Lego, which now has its headquarters in Billund, building like a base, a lot like their national team. Another interesting fact is Bluetooth technology has taken its name from the famous 10th century Danish king Harald Bluetooth, also known as Harald I, who was responsible for unifying Denmark into a single state. The iconic Bluetooth symbol is actually a combination of the Viking runes for H and B, Harald Bluetooth's initials. The final picture I'm showing with you here is Øresund Bridge, which connects Denmark to Sweden. Opened in 1999, it allows travellers to arrive in one country from the other in a matter of minutes. A remarkable piece of engineering. The bridge spans the Øresund Strait between the two countries at approximately 10 miles. But the reason we are here, of course, is for the football, and Denmark are competing in their 6th World Cup in their history, having made it out of the group stage successfully in 4 out of their 5 attempts so far. The Danes' best result in a World Cup came in 1998 in France, where they defeated Nigeria in the round of 16, only then to be ousted by Brazil in a tight 3-2 loss in the quarter-final. Much of Denmark's biggest success has actually been in the European Championships, where they actually won the 1992 tournament. They also had a very impressive semi-final showing last summer. It was a galvanised team after the horrific moment Christian Eriksen suffered a cardiac arrest on the field on match day 1. How the team came back from that to make the semi-final with some wonderful performances and almost took England out actually and made the final themselves was nothing short of phenomenal. Last time out in the World Cup 4 years ago, Denmark qualified through with France, who were also in their group this time around, before losing on penalties to eventual finalist Croatia. Denmark will go into the tournament high on hopes of another successful run into the knockout stages. Danish manager Kasper Hjulmund took the reins of the Denmark national team from the outgoing coach Åge Hareide in July 2020. Originally supposed to be at the end of the Euro 2020 tournament, but due to its postponement, Hjulmund was in charge last summer, overseeing Denmark to the semi-finals after that emotional tournament linked to Eriksen's health, as we mentioned before. A semi-final defeat by England, where the Danes felt hard done by that Raheem Sterling penalty, was an excellent introduction for Hjulmund to international tournament football. With a 68% win ratio for Denmark, he's used to tasting wins with his native Danes, with hopes to repeat these in Qatar over the winter. Denmark were very strong in the qualifying stage, dominating their group and finishing top to qualify to Qatar, topping a group that contained Scotland, Israel, Austria, Faroe Islands and Moldova, by 4 points in the end, with Scotland being their closest challengers. It was only the Scots who managed to stop Denmark a clean sweep of wins throughout the group stage, with a 2-0 win at Hampden Park in Glasgow, which by then Denmark had well and truly confirmed their qualification anyhow. With 30 goals in all scored in 10 matches, the Danish top scorers were in fact fullback Joachim Mæhle, who topped alongside Andreas Skov Olsen with 6 goals. Denmark, as well as being excellent going forward in the qualification period, were also very difficult to breach at the back, only conceding in their last 2 games of the group, which in all reality by then they had already qualified. In the Nations League, following the World Cup qualifying, Denmark beat Austria twice and lost to Croatia twice, but most telling and important in the eyes of the Danish fans were the 2 victories over their World Cup opponents this winter, France, with Denmark winning 2-1 in Paris with 2 goals from Andreas Cornelius and repeating the trick in Copenhagen when Kasper Dolberg and Andreas Skov Olsen made it a 2-0 victory over the French. Anything similar to that in Qatar will go down very well in Denmark. So how will the Danes line up in Qatar? Well, Hjulmund has been switching between a 4-2-3-1 and a 4-3-3 kind of formation in recent matches, so I'm going to start there. Kasper Schmeichel is a never-present in goal for Denmark. With 86 caps, he's been keeping goal for the Danes since 2013. In the back 4, the right back has been switched around a bit recently, but most often it's been Rasmus Nissen, playing alongside Joachim Andersen and Andreas Christensen. with an attacking left-back, Joachim Mæhle, should line up alongside them. It's strong centre of the pitch for Denmark in midfield, with Pierre-Emil Højbjerg and Thomas Delaney with plenty of experience in holding midfield, with the genius that is Christian Eriksen further forward in attacking midfield, pulling all the strings. Damsgaard could play more centrally, but I've pushed him out to the left here just to fit him in, while Andreas Skov Olsen and Kasper Hjulmund will be among the biggest goal threats for Denmark in the winter. Christian Eriksen was described as being definitely one of the top 10 players in the world by then coach Åge Hareide ahead of the last World Cup, and his vision, range of passing and ability in set-piece situations continue to make him Denmark's key creator and top threat. With 39 goals, he is also the leading scorer in the current squad and sits in the country's all-time top 5 list. What I'm sharing with you here is his player profile from Football Manager, and his attributes, the ones in bold in particular, are key to his preferred position in the game. Of course, the comeback from Eriksen from his cardiac arrest in the European Championships is nothing short of remarkable. Not only returning to the Premier League with Brentford last season, he returned to the Denmark international team with his undoubted qualities alongside him. A move in the summer to Manchester United has displayed his top-level talents once more, one of the best technical passers and midfielders still in the Premier League. The platform for Eriksen to roam, picking holes in opposition defences, is provided by the men that sit behind him. Thomas Delaney is a key figure anchoring the Danish midfield, while Pierre-Emil Højbjerg operates from box to box, breaking up opposition attacks and driving Denmark forward. He's an important part of the Tottenham Hotspur midfield and possesses great controlling qualities in his passing. Højbjerg has also spoken of the strong and special connection that he has to the national team, and this tends to be reflected in his performances. The coach says he gives everything for the team when he plays. His personality is really strong and there's a fire burning in Pierre. Danish fans will certainly be wanting to see that in Qatar. Many international strikers would be proud of averaging a goal every 3 matches. Most fullbacks can only dream of such a rate. Joachim Mæhle, though, is no ordinary fullback. Playing his football in Atlanta in Serie A, he scored the goal against Austria that sealed Denmark's World Cup place, becoming one of the stars of the Euro 2020 tournament as well. After proving himself potent in attack, he is also very dependable in defence. Whether it's on the right, but more often on the left as a fullback or a wingback, Mæhle is a favourite of Hjulmund's and has made himself all but rotation-proof. He scored 9 goals for us in the national team, and that is one of our best players every time, said the Danish coach. I think he's a fantastic footballer. Versatility and range of defensive and attacking attributes make Mæhle a key player when Hjulmund switched from a 4-3-3 to a 3-4-3 at Euro 2020. Such tactical switches again in Qatar will enable him to lean heavily on Mæhle. Now over to the matches that Denmark face in the World Cup. They opened their Group D campaign against Tunisia, who again qualified strongly out of the African section. They caused problems for England 4 years ago in their opening match. While to get to Qatar, Tunisia saw off Mali in the African playoffs, having topped the group in their qualification section. France is another in the group again, as Group D is in fact 2/3 the same as it was last time. It will be a tough and interesting game, with the French of course the current World Cup holders. The expectation is that they are the 2 clear group standouts, but also we can't forget Australia, who managed to hold Denmark to a draw in their second match 4 years ago. Denmark will, however, have optimism about qualifying through the group, just like they did in 2018. Now, it's time for me to take a punt and have a prediction on who qualifies. It's just a bit of fun, so don't hold me to it. My thought process is France still have an incredible side and a very strong squad. They also have Kylian Mbappe who can take the game away from you in a moment, and I think in the end they will end up top. However, if those recent Nations League games are to go by, Denmark will certainly cause them trouble. Could well be a draw between the two. I see them qualifying through the group and will be a dangerous opponent for whoever faces the Danes out of Group C. Based on the seedings, however, that could be Argentina, who look very strong this time around, on the basis of my last 16 elimination for Denmark. And with that, I thank you for taking the time of watching this World Cup preview. There's other videos on the channel and more to come before the World Cup starts. But for now, thank you, and I hope to catch you soon.